Welcome to the Tao of Our Understanding Recovery Podcast. In this podcast, we discuss mystical works of literature and how they relate to recovery. We hope you enjoy today's podcast episode.
Hello, this is Buddy C. Welcome to the Tao of Understanding Recovery Podcast. Today we have Brian and Drew. Good to have you guys. Today our story is The Inner Law, pages 136, 137 of Thomas Merton interpretation of the Chuang Tzu, which is one of the few books that are considered Taoist canon. You have the Tao Te Ching, you have the Chuang Tzu, maybe the Wen Tzu, maybe a couple of more, depending on who you talk to. If you want a good library of Taoist books, there's a 3-volume Taoist classics that have pretty much a good list of the different books of Taoism. There's 13 different books in my 3-volume. They're by Thomas Cleary, who did a lot of translating. It's like the rest of the Tao. There's something to learn that's between those words. There's something behind the text. What we want to sit with the words until we can notice what's behind the text that we don't see. That's why we're here. It's not for greater intellectual understanding. It's the spirit behind what we're reading that we can apply to everyday life. And I think that's why, at least for me, that I enjoy talking about the Tao so much. We're all in 12-step recovery in some form. When I heard the higher power, when I came in the meetings, I automatically thought, okay, this is God as I have experienced what I thought of God. Granted, it does say God as we understand God. But what I realized was my understanding of what God was needed some changing, because I was not open to anything being different with what I thought of as God. I had that figured out. So let's move on to something else, or tell me how I can get that God that I believe in to help me with my alcoholism. That was my problem. And that's why I needed recovery, was because actually my most sincere prayers were before I got sober, not after. I don't know if anyone else experienced that. Man, I tried everything I could to stop drinking. It controlled my life. Everything I did was conditioned by drinking. I orchestrated how I could drink with whatever it was I was doing. If I couldn't orchestrate drinking, I couldn't do it. But in recovery, I had to just be open. I didn't have to figure anything out. I had to come to the point that I would maybe open to new ideas. How does Bill Wilson say it? He says you just crack the door of willingness a little. Okay, before we get to our story, talk about 2 things which we do on the podcast. We try to, first I want to talk about a resource that we have at buddyc.org for you. Today I want to talk about our Google calendars that we have. They're actually, I think they're in the episode notes of every podcast too. So if you're listening to the podcast, look in the notes and you'll have access to them. I put together 2 calendars that you can import, 2 Google calendars. And both, quite honestly, I have them because I needed them for myself. It's all about me still. So I just made them available. One is a calendar of A Course in Miracles. For several years, I followed the Course in Miracles and still look at this calendar every day and glean something from it. If you're not familiar with Course in Miracles, it's just another way of looking at spirituality. It's a little different. I get some good principles from that, from Course in Miracles, like when I defend, I am inviting attack. Is there another way of looking at this? What I see is not real. Those type ideas come from Course in Miracles. There's a link there that you could add that to your Google Calendar if you'd like. There's a second one, which is a thought for the day. I will be updating it soon. It's a combination of AA, ACIM statements, Course in Miracles, some Bible, just all kinds of different thought for the day that may be helpful to you. You can import that as well. Those are entirely free. There's no hooks with any of that. As with what I share with you from the webpage, there are no hooks. You can even download the book for free. I don't collect emails. I'm trying to make these things as free and open as I can. Okay, next we talk about a synchronistic moment. I'm going to talk about one of my own today. We have what in AA we call a roundup. I think they call it that in other parts of the country too. It's usually a little regional convention where you have speakers that come from all over the country fly in. You have workshops. It's usually a weekend event. Starts on a Friday night and it goes till Sunday lunchtime. Has an Al-Anon speaker. Has meetings and all. Red ball meetings is a big thing. You have a red ball and you pass it to somebody and then they share. Okay. They have all kinds of stuff. A morning hike, a motorcycle ride, just a whole weekend of AA fun stuff. I do not like to go. It's an hour away and I don't want to buy $180 a night motel room to stay for the weekend. My cheapness, Brian. Maybe I hope that's not the theme today. My
thought you were splurging at 189 a night.
Hey man, and I am staying at the Hilton for 189. That's pretty good. Sometimes I go for a day or an evening, but quite honestly, if I can find a reason not to, I don't drive the hour over when I need to. I need to see all my old friends, and it looks like I would enjoy it, and I do once I get there. I hadn't bought a ticket beforehand. I didn't know whether I was going or not. And I heard on a podcast that I listened to, there was a cardiologist on talking about doing, maybe someone listening may need this, that I could get a coronary scan done, show the plaque buildup in my heart. And it was like $99 with no other fees. I'm like, what? He said, yeah, I get all my patients to do this because we do it for everything else. We do all these preliminaries to see if you have any of these things happening, but we don't do that for hearts. We have a heart attack, then we try to figure out why you had the heart attack instead of looking beforehand. Heard this, I said, I wonder if I could get that done. I'm 60, never had any issues whatsoever. So I call, I look around, sure enough, coronary scan, $78, no other fees. Like, wow. Call, get an appointment. It's booked out for weeks. What day do you want it? I said, how's Friday? I said, oh, that's okay. Let's go late in the day. So they set me up at 4 p.m. on Friday, 6 weeks ago. Coming up to my appointment, I said, oh, I got this in Cartersville, which is where the roundup is, Friday afternoon. I'm like, oh, the roundup starts 30 minutes after I get out of my appointment, a mile away. What other excuse can I find not to go? That's kind of fortuitous. Like, okay, I'll go. So I did. Saw some old friends, enjoyed seeing everyone. Who knows how this works? I just try to go with it. Say thank you, be grateful. When I look at spirituality or anything, and if it's all about me, there's a better way of looking at whatever it is that I'm making all about me. Sometimes I don't know how that is, like with this, but it's definitely not, buddy, you're so spiritual. You made this happen. What's the bigger picture of that? There's got to be a way to look at that through a compassionate lens or a lens that doesn't elevate buddy. Maybe it's just this is what happens when we start dropping self and are open to ideas other than our own. Maybe this is happening for everyone all the time. And most of the time, I just can't see it. That's the Tao. And the whole message going to the roundup last night, I was able to have a long conversation with a guy that's newer in the program that had all these questions about the Tao. I got to sit and talk about the Tao for probably longer than he wanted to. He had all these ideas about the Tao that, for me, just making it so esoterical that it wasn't practical kind of thing. I said, listen, the Tao is just step 3. It's letting go. All of the Tao is about letting go in some form, lowering resistance, stopping the fight, Stepping out of the way, all the ways that we say this. Not working harder, doing better. Like my friend says, he wore his do better out. I think a lot of us feel that way. So I just go with it. If it's not hurting anyone, if it's not really elevating me, if it may be helping someone, oh, okay, let's see where that goes.
It's one thing if it's harmful to somebody, but it's another when it's helping somebody. And then immediately I get in this dynamic of I'm going to take one for the team. It's going to harm me, but it'll be okay. But then when I inventory it, I realize that it's not really harming me. It's helping me. Maybe it's even helping me to let go of my self-will and opening my freaking eyes and realizing that I'm okay.
Brian, I think we can eventually get to a point to where there's really nothing that harms us because we find out that the only things that harm us is what we allow.
Sponsor used to say it's not like they're going to eat you. That would fly all over me. Gratefully, I can laugh about it today.
I'm working with a sponsee that I'm seeing a lot of my younger recovery self in, trying to think it's justified imposing their view on someone if it's helping them, quote, helping them. Just cannot understand why they should not stick their nose into their business, into someone else's business, but it's helping them. I'm so grateful that for the most part, I've moved past that. Those are all gifts of sobriety, realizing it's not up to me to fix everyone. It's not up to me to right all the wrongs.
That word help, I always heard that was the sunny side of control.
Could be. Could be.
I help a lot of people, but I'm also denying them the dignity of a life, denying them of figuring it out on their own.
What's the difference between how can I fix this person? How can I make their life better? How can I defend this person versus how can I love this person? How can I show compassion to this person? Most of the time, those are different actions.
And then in the world of addiction, how many times have we seen people thinking they're helping, but they're actually harming? I'm going to help Buddy not get a DWI by going out and buying alcohol for him. I'm going to help Drew by doing all these things he can't do because he's too drunk or stoned to do them.
That's what Al-Anon's all about. Where's Lou when we need him?
I know. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, that's what Al-Anon's about is boundaries, or one thing that I'm told Al-Anon's about is boundaries. Fix, manage, and control, I think is their phrase, or what I've heard Lou mention. Okay, guys, our story for today, the inner law.
The rules, addicts don't like rules.
Yeah, I see you guys later. I'm going to mow the yard.
When I'm told to do something, I always want to do the opposite. Like last night at the roundup, after the speaker, no matter if they're a great speaker or a crappy speaker, everybody stands up and applauds for them. I was with an old sponsee and we met up before the meeting and got to catch up too. We're sitting there and they all stand up and I'm not standing up. He says, man, you got to stand up. Come on. I said, I don't want to. The only reason I don't want to is because I'm expected to.
The inner law. He whose law is within himself walks in hiddenness. His acts are not influenced by approval or disapproval. He whose law is outside himself directs his will to what is beyond his control and seeks to extend his power over objects. He who walks in hiddenness has light to guide him in all his acts. He who seeks to extend his control is nothing but an operator. While he thinks he is surpassing others, see him merely straining, stretching, to stand on tiptoe. When he tries to extend his power over objects, those objects gain control of him. He who is controlled by objects loses possession of his inner self. If he no longer values himself, how can he value others? If he no longer values others, he is abandoned. He has nothing left. There is no deadlier weapon than the will. The sharpest sword is not equal to it. There is no robber so dangerous as nature, yang and yin. Yet it is not nature that does the damage. It is man's own will.
Willingness, and we were just talking about willingness, weren't we?
When you were talking about the synchronistic moments, I was browsing through this And I thought, man, here we are again.
I'm just
Step
grateful
3.
that happens so often. I hadn't read the story. I didn't know it was talking about willpower.
And buddy, the last thing that you mentioned before I read was about how you, and it's not just you, but all of us have gone through this. How you, if somebody asks you to do something, somebody expects you to do something, that makes you want to not do it even more. Or the opposite, if somebody wants you not to do something, then that makes you want to do it even more. I think this talks directly about that, about how if you let your thoughts about somebody else guide your actions, then you're not acting based on your own inner values. You may have wanted to do the thing, but now they're asking you to do the thing, and you're showing them you can't control me. I'm going to not do it just to show you that you don't have any control over me. You're letting your thoughts about somebody else guide what you do or don't do. I think this speaks directly to that.
Why can't I have this kind of continuity in the rest of life?
You
I mean,
do. You just have to open your eyes to it.
maybe it has something to do with me making life so much about me when this podcast, this meeting is not about me. Maybe that has something to do with it.
So this podcast needs to be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I need to live the podcast. Yeah. Then it would become about me, though, Drew. Then it would stop. Okay. Let's go back to the beginning. So we have two laws, right? From what I read, we have the law that's within oneself and the law that is outside. The law within is seen as walking in hiddenness. That could be anonymity. It could be walking in compassion rather than fear, choosing love over fear, all those things, and doing it, living life behind the scenes, not making everything about you. Acts are not influenced by approval or disapproval. Ooh, my life is so dictated by what people think of me still. And it doesn't say that people stop approving or disapproving. It's that we're not influenced by it anymore. Huh. See, we're not influenced because where are those influences? They're not within, they're outside. They're not inside. Those whose law is outside themselves directs his will to what is beyond his control and seeks to extend power over objects.
Something this reminds me of is something I read about a few years ago, and I've thought about it since and talked with my therapist about it, which is a couple of phrases called intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. So, what's motivating me to do something? The action can look the same to an outside observer, but one example might be cleaning up my house or mowing my lawn. Am I doing those things to get the approval of somebody who drives by my house? I don't want them to think that I'm a slob. I want them to be impressed with my nice yard. Somebody comes over, I want them to think that I keep a clean house. Or am I doing those things because I like taking care of my lawn and my garden? I like living in a clean house. I like having less dust, so I breathe easier. It's better for my health. To an outside observer, those actions would look the same. But if I'm letting my fear of other people's opinions drive my actions, then I'm living in that law outside myself. And if I'm doing it for reasons that are for my benefit and the benefit of the people around me, if people come to visit, I want them to come over and not just be choking on dust or smelling rotting food or something. Even that is, it's because I care about the health of people who come over, not because I care about their approval or disapproval. So that's what instantly popped up into my mind is if I do something for the sake of wanting to do it for healthy reasons versus unhealthy reasons, then it's The actual process of doing it is much easier for me. Getting myself to do it is much easier. I don't procrastinate on as much. I don't hate it while I'm doing it as much.
Drew, if I have people coming over, I do an extra clean just because they're coming over and I don't want them to think I'm a slob. I take it up a level. I'm not there. I'm still my actions many times are dictated by the opinions of others. This speaks directly to me. He who walks in hiddenness has light to guide him in all his acts. He who seeks to extend his control is nothing but an operator. Wow. While he thinks he is surpassing others, others' opinion of him are merely straining, stretching to stand on tiptoe. He tries to extend his power over objects. Those objects gain control over him. He thinks he's gaining control, but the opposite's happening.
Objects, the word objects makes me think of stuff, tangible things. But I think here, if we replace objects with opinions of others, when he tries to extend his power over opinions of others, those opinions of others gain control of him. I think that's, especially for those of us in this arena, I think that's completely accurate.
Verse 24 of the Tao Te Ching seems to fit with this. This is Mitchell version. He who stands on tiptoe doesn't stand firm. He who rushes ahead doesn't go far. He who tries to shine dims his own light. He who defines himself can't know who he really is. He who has power over others can't empower himself. He who clings to his work will create nothing that endures. If you want to accord with the Tao, just do your job, then let go. Like we talked about before, it's all about letting go. He who is controlled by objects loses possession of his inner self. If he no longer values himself, how can he value others? If he no longer values others, he is abandoned. He has nothing left. There is no deadlier weapon than the will. The sharpest sword is not equal to it. There is no robber so dangerous as nature, yang and yin. Yet, it is not nature that does the damage. You're looking outside, thinking all these outside things are the problem. They are not. It's the man's will that is the problem. The way I started really having true value for myself was deciding to value others. It wasn't that God fixed me and then I could love others. It's that I chose to love others, chose to live compassionately, chose to forgive, chose those things. And once I did, I found inwardly that I felt the same way about myself. That's just how it worked for me. Brian?
I keep thinking about last week, or actually this week. I'd went out of town and with the family, and to me, that's about like being in a boat in a river, and I bring my oars in. I just have this feeling that I'm losing momentum, and sooner or later, I'm going to start sliding back. And it's hard for me to take, and that's fear-based behavior, fear-based thinking. I get out of town, had a few little things that I thought we were going to do, and I get a text from a guy that works for me that takes care of things, and the water pump is out on his truck. Immediately, I'm like, here we go. Now the week is shot. And that was just a split second, but I was able to say, hey, go get my truck, do what you need to do, and fix yours. And I was able to rationally think through that we had nothing to do. What he was working on was going on a shelf. And he's got a good, cool place to work on his truck in the middle of a heat wave. He's got reliable transportation, my truck that I don't need because I'm 5 hours north. Maybe this is perfect timing for all these things to happen and me getting my will in the way. You know, I wish it would look like this when I had all these piles of work to do. But in reality, I'm on freaking vacation with my family. What the hell am I going to do with it?
Brian, that discontent that you're talking about thinking that if things in your business should be different. Back to that shoulding all over yourself, right?
Should know myself. Yep.
If those things changed to what you were thinking at that moment and were exactly like that, that discontent would find something else to think that should be different too.
Absolutely.
It doesn't leave.
Yeah.
It's always there.
Yeah.
If you let it, if it's there, it's there.
Yeah.
It just finds another way to voice itself.
Yeah. It's always there. If I would have been gangbusters busy, it would have been, I'm getting barked at by a customer. What the hell are you doing on vacation? And I need you. And that's not good.
Starting to see it is taking the power out of it. See?
Yeah. It was literally one of those beam of light moments. Immediately, that spring tightened 2 or 3 clicks, and I was like, damn it. And then I thought,
This is how we get past it, though, Brian. This is how it really works. You're presented with a situation that challenges your discontent, and do you choose love over fear? Do you give into that discontent that's fear-based, or do you lean in to what love would do in that situation? And the more you lean in, like you did, the less power that discontent has.
but I think one more piece beyond this is like the old Brian, I would have said, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to lean in and I'm going to choose love over this. But I'm also going to put a freaking few deposits in my bank.
That's not choosing love.
Yeah, but that's what I would have done. The old
Yeah,
Brian would have said, okay, I'm just going to suck this down and I'm going to act like I'm doing this out of love, but I know that it's going to pay freaking dividends next week. And Monday morning, it would have been, here it comes. Refresh the email. Time for my investment to come due. And
time for my dividends.
Time for my dividend. I was humming how great thou art to myself.
Yes. That's a really good example. Thank you, Brian, of really how this works in life, how we allow ourselves to change.
I heard a guy one time that was talking about on his headstone that there's going to be a dash there. And he said that dash is what matters. What's in that dash? Pretty deep when you think about it. It's that in-between time is what matters.
One thing that struck me about this passage was on the second page at the top about if I don't value myself, how can I value others? If I don't value others, I'm abandoned. I have nothing left. It kind of makes me think about stages of sobriety I went through. Deep in my addiction, I was just very selfish. I didn't care about anybody in any way. Just how can I fulfill my addiction? And that was really it. And then I quit and gave all that up. And when I was in addiction mode too, but also when I got out, I thought I really am caring about others, but I was really caring about their opinions of me. I wasn't really caring about them as people. I was caring about their opinions, and it made me think, oh, I'm caring about other people now, but I was really caring about what they thought about me. And now that I think about it, I was more in that mode during addiction mode too. And then since I've been sober and been doing work, I think I am shifting gradually more, like you said, not there yet, and I'll never fully be there, but shifting more into valuing others as people rather than valuing their opinions, valuing their thoughts of me, because that's just it, being concerned with other people's thoughts of me is really leads to manipulation. I want them to think this about me. I want them to have this opinion about me. I don't want them to know that this is how I live or what I think when they're not around. So I'm really trying to control what they think about me. And that's not valuing them as people. That's really a little more manipulative. So it looks like I'm valuing them as people. I'm taking their thoughts into account, but not in a healthy way.
Thank you, Drew. Remember when my kids were little, especially when they were real little, let me help you wash the car. They'd make a big mess, but look, Daddy, I helped you wash the car. Look at what I did. That's good, honey. I thank you. You act the same, but they're not really washing the car. That kind of describes some of my compassionate action, in quotes, especially at first. Look at what I'm doing for you. Then I had a sponsee that said, my actions are never pure. I said, no, but you can see how you respond to those as to how pure they are. You get mad when they don't do what you suggest, or when you buy them a big book and they don't show up. This is what he did. He bought a guy a big book and then he didn't show up for a meeting again. And he got pissed off. I said, you'll know when you're more altruistic when it doesn't matter to you whether they come back or not. You did your part. I said, just keep practicing. And before long, you'll realize, hey, I did that and didn't even think about an outcome from my action. I was present in the action, just like in recovery, we're shown to be present in the moment, acceptance of what is, not attaching expectations to everything.
A couple of weeks ago, I'm on a WhatsApp. I don't post in there, but a guy had made a comment. It just flew all over me. And I was like, man, I'm going to freaking lay down some old school AA quote and just rub this guy's nose in it. This is what he needs. I just kept thinking to myself, like, Brian, this is not yours. Why in the hell are you so freaking stirred up about it? You never post in there. You've thought about deleting this thing. You've asked yourself if this is a benefit in your life, and now you're just, this guy's freaking got control over you, and he's done nothing to you. It's like, God bless. It's just there, man. And it had me wound up for 3 or 4 hours. I finally went to sleep and got over it, but I was just like, man, it's still there.
Verse 9, Mitchell in the Tao Te Ching. Fill your bowl to the brim and it will spill. Keep sharpening your knife, it'll blunt. Chase after money and security, and your heart will never unclench. Care about people's approval, and you will be their prisoner. Do your work, then step back. The only path to serenity, effing letting go again.
You know, I'm thinking about that quote, what others think of me is none of my business.
Practicing acceptance, accept what people think about you, trying to control what they think about you.
You know what I really dislike about topics like this? It's that after we discuss something like this, I am presented with situations where I have to make that choice. Uncomfortable situations which I do not want to be in.
Hoping to become a more patient person and immediately being given a long line to stand in.
At Walmart.
With stinky people in their pajamas.
And Crocs.
It makes me want to write my book. I Wish I Were Dumber would be the title. That's awful. I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, care about people's approval and you will be their prisoner. It's exactly what this story is talking about. When we start making the shift, I just do what's in front of me to do. Are there mixed motives on my part? Sure. Are my motives ever 100% pure? They're getting more pure for sure. So I just keep doing it. When I have those thoughts of they should do this or I should do blah, 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 I just ignore those. Just a thought. Like I ignore other thoughts, which 99.9999% of are not true anyway. Just ignore it. One more thing before we close. This is the third step prayer on page 63 of the big book. God, I offer myself to thee to build with me as thou wilt. Relieve me from the bondage of self that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. We thought well before taking this step, making sure we were ready, that we could at last abandon ourselves utterly to him, letting go. Of course, if you've heard me talk about this, first thing I tell sponsees, okay, mark through take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help with thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. Just mark through that sentence. I don't want you praying that. Why? I don't know what's good or bad for me. I'm going to ask God to take away my difficulties. When do you learn? I learn when things are difficult. Is every difficulty by design? Yes. I ask my Christian friends, okay, if God's in control, you believe God's in control of everything? Yeah. I say, okay. If God is in control, then does he not control the good and the bad? Or is he just in control of the good? What we think of as good. Did God create everything? Oh, yes. He created, if you believe in Satan, the devil, then Satan's a fallen angel. He was created by God, wasn't he? Is he not doing God's will too? Their answer is, buddy, you just not right. They don't even try to answer. Buddy, you just ain't right. I said, okay. Brian?
In the long version of the Serenity Prayer, it's got that line in there that's, I don't know it exactly, but it's basically the struggle is the pathway to peace. And we were talking about earlier about it's the next level of doing what the big book says is of praying for that person, praying that they find what they need and realizing that's not me or trying to fix them.
I know when I'm not in acceptance of what is, when I'm desiring for it to be different. Doesn't mean that I don't work if there's work to do. Okay, doesn't mean I just accept everything as, oh, it's the way it is. There's nothing I can do. But if I can first see it as it is right now in this moment, the good, the bad, the ugly, the great, and just see it like it is, then I can better gauge, okay, is this something I can really change? Or is this something I'm trying to extend power over or extend control?
We may not get the answer right at that moment. I've had things that I've freaking had in my paws and they didn't work out. And I was just freaking just all kind of twisted up. And it may be a month or it may be 10 years later. I get that epiphany. Thank God that didn't work out. And immediately I say to myself, okay, I see. My eyes are open. It's my little prayer. And then I usually say, next time it'll be different. And maybe I just have one paw on it, not two.
One claw instead of all 10, right?
Yeah, one claw, couple claws in it. Like you said, I don't know what's good for me.
This is page 418 out of the fourth edition of the big book. Today I find the best thing, that alcoholism is the best thing that ever happened to me. This proves I don't know what's good for me. And if I don't know what's good for me, then I don't know what's good or bad for you or for anyone. So I'm better off if I don't give advice, don't figure I know what's best, and just accept life on life's terms as it is today, especially my own life as it actually is. Before AA, I judged myself by my intentions while the world was judging me by my action. That's the top of 418 in the big book.
Boy, if that ain't ego, my life's a dumpster fire, but I'm going to tell you what you need to do with yours.
And I remember my sponsor told me, what they do is none of your business. What they think of you is none of your business. I'm like, what? I thought that was most of my business was orchestrating all of that. Yes, puppeteering.
One thing, Brian, talking about this thing that I wanted to happen or I want to happen, it may be for the best that it didn't. I've been reminded of that the last few weeks at work. The supervisor of our department she got promoted, so we needed a new supervisor, and it was just one rung above me. So I applied and I got through the first interview, made it to second interview, and then they ended up hiring somebody else in our department who I didn't know, and I was like, what does she know? She's never worked in my little section. She doesn't know how my section works. This is dumb. I should have gotten hired. And she and I've gotten close, and we talk a lot. And she's been telling me about the things that she's been having to do this week or the last few weeks, and just how stressful and time consuming and just all these meetings. And I am just so glad she got that job and not me. I'm happy with my job. I would not want her job. I'm so glad I didn't get that job. I was so upset I didn't get it. But if I had gotten that job, I would not be good at it. She has a much better mind for what she's asked to do than I do. I'm really good at what I do. I'm very glad that the people who we're hiring probably recognize she'll do better at this than Drew will. I really am thankful. I have been thankful that I did not get her job, even though I was so mad about it when that decision got made.
Drew, that's a good example to put into a little gratitude journal entry for later in life. You're in those situations, you don't see the outcome or the reason, so to speak, until way down the road. When I'm in those situations, I just sit with them and I just express that, please let me learn everything I need to learn in this situation so I don't have to take this lap again. All about me, right? I want to learn everything I can so I don't have to be this uncomfortable again in this situation.
Yeah. It's me again.
Putting on my running shoes, I'm fixing to take a lap. Yes. Anything else, guys, before we close? Been a good conversation. Thank you.
I'm gonna go mow my yard so my neighbors don't think that I am a lazy slob.
Good for you, Drew.
Good for you, Drew. Quick story. I put lines in my yard. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy the piece of the accomplishment I feel afterwards. A couple of Halloweens ago, there was some neighbors walking out in front of my house, and the kids took off across my yard. I didn't care. And one of the parents was like, oh no, don't walk in his yard. And that really bothered me because what do they think of me? I don't care. It was a long way around and around because I'm on a corner to get around to my drive and then the sidewalk. I said, no, it's okay. Y'all come on. But of course, what did I start this out with? It bothered me.
Hey, Brian, when you're doing the crisscrossing, one in the middle of the yard, do a little wave back and forth. So it kind of has this imperfection in the middle of the yard. I dare you.
I was in a meeting one time and this guy said, my yard looks like shit and I think I'm getting more healthy.
In my Zen book study, one of the guys is talking about he's meditated every day for like 6 years or something, not missed a day. I said, Paul, I think you need to skip a day. He said, there's no way I'm skipping a day. I said, okay. Yes, no way. I'm going to keep my record going. I'm so spiritual. I thought that was hilarious.
This is a lesson that I need to put into practice every day, every hour, and every day for the rest of my life.
Me too.
It's not a lesson I like, Drew.
Nope.
Because I know what happens. I guarantee you I will have situations. It's always that way. It's like I'm being prepared for the ground to be tilled, right? For me to choose love over fear. It's being prepared. So we'll see. Maybe I get a pass this time. I don't have to go to class this time. Maybe I get a hall pass. I doubt it, though. That doesn't happen too often. There's nothing else, guys. Y'all have a great week. See you next week. Thank you.
Hello, this is Buddy C. I wanted to make you aware of several recovery-related resources that I've posted in the episode description. These resources include a list of recovery podcasts, a free sober meditation app, daily recovery email, shared Google Recovery calendars. Hope you put some of these resources to use and have a great week.
Thank you for listening to the Tao of Our Understanding Recovery Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends in recovery.